Good morning, Pastor Rob here, Friday morning. Just doing a quick study. Wanted to encourage everyone. I've had people ask how to pray, and man, we had a long night last night up till 2 in the morning. Casey had a rough night. She had migraine. She had a real bad accident a few years ago, and it was one of those rough nights. And while we sat here till about 2 in the morning praying, I had to think that we use commonly the verse 1 Corinthians 10:13. It says, just read it, there's no temptation that has seized you except what is common to man, but God is faithful in it to give us a way of escape. But that word temptation, peirasmos means experiment, trial, temptation, calamity, or affliction. Experiment, trial, temptation, calamity, or affliction. A time of testing, a time of temptation, a time of trial. And I'm thinking of Tracy Kaufman, my friend Tracy Busella, some of the others that have family members that are going through tough times, and especially the times that we're going through with this coronavirus. But God always gives us a way out. So Casey and I were talking again about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, and it hit me that 1 Corinthians 6:20 says that we have been bought with a price. And I was just thinking how to pray. Here's a prayer for you, and I think it was pretty powerful, and it meant a lot to her, and it meant a lot to me to receive it. And that is, when you get in trouble, to know that you are a possession, you are a piece of merchandise. Remember, we said trophy of God's grace. It's been bought and paid for. Somebody's bought you and paid for you. That's Jesus Christ. He paid for you with His blood, with His life. He owns you, so to speak, if you're allowing Him to own you. And you could look to God and say, in your time of despair, your time of trial, your time of experiment or temptation, whatever that is, maybe it is a temptation that's taken you that you can't, it's a little bit more than you can handle, or maybe you've got yourself in that situation and you need to get out. But pray this prayer. God, the merchandise that you paid for, that property that you own, is in big trouble, and I need your help. And I just couldn't help but think that is really the truth. Not only that, you're a temple of God's grace. You could look to God and say, God, your temple is being attacked. Your temple is in trouble. The place where you reside on the outside is being attacked. And I don't know, I just couldn't help but think that would be a prayer that could be very powerful if you don't have one and you're going through a rough time right now. I know Tracy, talking to Tracy with her son being in an accident right now. Literally, it's a tough time, and I know the family's going through a lot. But to look to God and say, God, that property you paid for, that trophy of grace, that merchandise that you died for is in big trouble, and it needs your help. And or that property that you own is being attacked, I just thought that was a pretty neat thing. And so I just pray that today, if you're in a hard time or having trouble, and I'm looking at doing this a little further for a message on Sunday, basically that God knows you. Matthew 10:30 says He's numbered the hairs on your head. He knew you before He formed you in the womb. He was there when you were conceived. All these things that God intimately knows us, knows each thought, each word before we say it. But then again, remember, Billy Graham said that heaven is full of the answers to prayers that have never been prayed. So to pray this prayer, God, your property's in big trouble, and I need your help. And so I hope that's an encouraging word for you today, and to know that you have been bought with a price, 1 Corinthians 6:20, and you are very special to God. So everybody have a great day, and I'll see you Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.